So we have Mum and Dad, Ronald Pump and Melody Pump. We are looking at the Pump family here. Ronald and Melody are the business owners and directors, Mum and Dad, and they have 3 children. They have Joe and his wife Jill down at the bottom there. Joe works full-time in the business, and his wife doesn't work. He's stay-at-home mom, looking after the children. We've then got Yvonne and Yusuf. Yvonne is the daughter of Ronald and Melody, and she does not work in the business. She's a teacher, so does not have any ongoing role in the business. And then you've got Eric and Simon and their dog, Major Champ. And Simon here is the son of Ronald and Melody. Again, no involvement in the business. Over to you, Beth.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. And yeah, I've been chipping in as we go along, but here we go. We've got a slide that hopefully you can all see. So family businesses, they're wonderful, aren't they? Absolutely fantastic things. And the enthusiasm and the energy that can be harnessed to do great things together. But what I see tested, and back to that resilience point that Dawn has been talking about, is blood thicker than water? And there's nothing like a death of a key family member in a family business to test the resilience of your family and your family business to its absolute limit. So in this scenario, happily, Ronald did survive and he's making great recovery. But let's just imagine for a moment that he didn't, and unfortunately he died. So let me just talk you through this slide. Melody is clearly distraught. She's lost her husband. There's a will that's 40 years old. Her parents were the executors as well. It's now just her, so she's an executor. She isn't really the most business orientated, being a very traditional family marriage. So she's suddenly now finding herself at the head of this family in a distraught situation with her 3 children who are also grieving. And let's just take the children one in turn. So Joe, he's been working in the business on the presumption, whether spoken or assumed, that he will be the future of the family business and it will come to him to drive it forwards. And put bluntly, he expects to inherit the majority share. So he's trying to run the business, support mum, whilst trying to field questions from the 2 other siblings. And he's got his wife in his ear saying, you're entitled, you should, speak to your mother, you need to get it changed, you need to sort it out. He's under huge pressure because of what has happened. Then, okay, if we look at Yvonne, her self-interested position is she's extremely stressed out because she's a daddy's girl and daddy always maintained her. So she's got this husband on the scene, but he's not of financial means, and she's used to living a rather lovely lifestyle because she's daddy's girl and daddy pays for everything. So she's going to be very stressed out for her own personal position, and maybe lobbying mum, well, will you look after me the same as daddy did? And perhaps she might go see a solicitor, go and see somebody like me. And they'll say, well, if you were maintained by daddy in lifetime, then you've got a good option to perhaps bring a claim against Ronald's estate for your own maintenance. And then we've got the non-business son, Simon. This is going to put him under pressure. He's going to be looking at his older brother, Joe, and thinking, well, why should Joe get it all? Yes, he's worked in the business, but I wasn't given that opportunity because dad didn't like my choice of partner or my lifestyle choices. So suddenly here we've got, it's very difficult for the family members to keep the business going when they're also stressed and in a state of grief about the death of Ronald. So these are all situations that we do see quite regularly, unfortunately, in the families that we look after here. So really this is an echo of Anita's comments. Prevention is better than cure. I think if Melody and Ronald had been able to face up to making some decisions and communicating their vision for the future family business to the children and reassuring the two children who weren't going to be the main beneficiary that they would be looked after somehow, whether that was with a property portfolio, some other shares. A lot of this strife could have been avoided. So that's what I just wanted to talk through really on that slide. And then I've got a final scenario, and I've got another slide that no doubt will pop up now. Let's imagine that a really bad situation, that Ronald didn't have a will at all and he died. Okay, so I've just put up a couple of boxes there to explain what would happen if Ronald died without a will and he was intestate. And I've just plucked some figures out of the air. And I'm assuming here that he's got a £3 million estate. But that excludes the house, because when they bought the house, they did have some advice from the conveyancers to buy their house that they lived in, which is worth £850,000 at today's value, jointly as beneficial joint tenants. So the house will go automatically to Melody. So that's some comfort to her that at least, she definitely just has the house outright, regardless as to what's going to happen with the estate. So, okay, here, let's follow this through. So we've got a £3 million estate, no will. On the side there, you can see I've got Melody. So what Melody is going to get under the rules of intestacy, the first £270,000 in the estate. And she's going to get all of the personal property belonging to Ronald. And then she gets 50% of the remaining estate. And you can see I've put the figures there. So she's going to, when all is said and done, come out with the house, which passes automatically by the rule of survivorship because of the way that they own the property, which is perhaps fortuitous. They didn't own it as tenants in common. She's going to get 1.365 million as the half, and then the 270 as well at the top there. So if you look at the box on the other side, the remaining half of Ronald's estate will be split equally between the three children, regardless as to who has done more in the business, who was favourite, who he loved the most, who he wanted to give a leg up the most, who's established, who's not established, who's got grandchildren, who's got children, who hasn't got children. None of those considerations. So it's a little bit like Anita was saying. If you just leave it for the states to decide, then this would have been Ronald's outcome, which would, I suspect, if we go back to right at the beginning, we talked about Dawn seeing Ronald and Melody and what they wanted. I don't think this outcome that is on this slide is at all what Ronald and Melody would have wanted. Now, all is not lost, because they could go back to see Dawn or somebody at this stage, and if the family are all talking, if relationships haven't been sort of too strained to their own self-interest position, if they can still see the future of the family business and be resilient, then they could come as a united family, and there could be some tax planning and some sorting out and some varying of this situation. But the real message here is, don't leave it. Don't put your family under this type of stress. It's an awful thing to fall out with your family over business assets because somebody has died unexpectedly, or in fact in the wrong order. People do die, unfortunately, in the wrong order. So the message here is, blood isn't actually always thicker than water. And I have seen families implode as a result of a death because it puts too much strain on the family. And in the worst case scenario, the business may have to be sold to meet everybody's share. So that's it for me, Charlotte.